With me today, I have Professor Bola Akinterinwa, who is back home after a long period of absence, Director General for Bola Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies. And if you have not seen him for weeks, he's now Professor of International Relations at the Achievers University, Owo, Ondo State, which is quite some distance from Lagos. I also have Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos, as well as Jide Ologun, a legal practitioner and national development advocate. Well, Professor Akinterinwa, we welcome you specially. Good to see you back, coming back home, you know. And then barrister, Mr. Ologun. Although they say in law school, lawyers should not be called barrister.
Exactly.
But I've just used it for a purpose.
But we won't take you to court for calling us barrister.
I know. Mr. Ologun. But I see a lot of people going about, yeah, I'm a barrister. I'm a barrister. You know. Professor Aworawo, thank you for joining us. Well, we have had two guests so far. I'm expecting a third guest. He's not here yet. He's stuck in traffic. When he shows up eventually, I hope you will, we will also engage with him. But we have looked at Edo election. We have looked at our brother Anthony Joshua, you know, being knocked out for the second time in his you know, career, and some Nigerians have been saying, why will Anthony Joshua disappoint us this way? Those are the two issues. But the main issue for today, as we have seen, is Edo election. Edo decides 2024. I would like to start with Professor Akinterinwa. Professor Aworawo, Mr. Ologun, just get ready. But let's welcome Professor Akinterinwa back, especially Prof. Over to you.
Thank you, my brother. You see, making changes within continuity can never lead Nigeria no good way. We are used to all this. Samson Itodo, in response to your question, did tell us that the environmental conditioning of the election in Edo State was conducive, was quiet, was peaceful. And I asked myself, why are we talking about environmental peace? And we are no longer talking about, you know, peace of the mind. There's no peace in the mind. All the Edo people, they are not in peace because we have the issue of error, we have the issue of horror, and we also have the issue of terror, all combined in this particular election. First of all, we have, you know, the error at the level of the INEC, making promises that it knew, it knows, that it will not comply with. We were told by the INEC that, look, they will ensure that the election is fair, that the election will be just, it will be inclusive, and so on and so forth. We were told that elections will start at 8 a.m. They couldn't conclude yesterday, postponed till today, elections scheduled to hold at 10. Why do you open your mouth and be telling us what you know you will not do? Because you do not unnecessarily create fears, suspicions. That error is there. When you look at the horror, you know, the attitudinal disposition to it, I look at it to say, Nigeria, when are we going to change for the better? I remember here when on this platform, we were talking about the future of Nigeria. You were the one who raised the question by that time. And I remember I raised the issue of option A4. And you were telling us by that time that, look, the world has moved. Because option A4 is that of an open, open election, open voting. There is no need for rigging. There is nothing like central collation. There is no snatching of any ballot box. There is no stuffing of votes. Here, it is so, in fact, Humphrey Unwosun, professor, who came up with the idea as a voting system. I think I remember I took active part there. I was number 17 on the queue. Number 1 will say, you can't. And everybody will be shouting along with you. Professor Aworawo will say 1. My brother lawyer here, Ologun, will say 2. I will say 3. You will mention 4 until it gets to the last person. The number of people there is there and it's recorded. And everybody is there. So I think that, you see, when we are looking at the example of Edo State, I think Nigeria is not serious. INEC is not serious. We, the people of Nigeria, we are not serious about wanting to move forward. We cannot be making, motion without treatment. Now, when you look at the critical issue involved, there are basically 2. First of all, at the epicenter of the 2 issues is corruption, fraud, institutional fraud. When I was listening at the discussion here yesterday and today, I noted 2 things there that were raised in the discussion. At the level of collation, one of the party agents was asked, first of all, the collation officer said everybody signed to show that they agreed. The PDP agent, I think is Tony Asaibu or something like that, he said, I had to sign. Not that I agreed. We have to sign because by the time the matter will be referred to the court will say you didn't sign. It doesn't mean that that will invalidate that.
Anthony Aziebemi,
PDP
chairman,
now,
Edo State.
The implication of that one is that we are saying we are fighting corruption, but we are at the same time institutionalizing that corruption. So why do you now have to sign when you know quite well the implication? The second point there is the issue of signing, no, I think is the issue of vote buying. The issue of vote buying. We have been discussing this all along. When will it come to an end? Why? Why is it that we are making only changes in continuity? We are continuing fraudulently, but at the same time, we are changing tactically within it.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Welcome back. Mr. Ologun, your turn.
Thank you. Let me take it from the point of vote buying. If you look at the economic environment now, where Nigeria has been declared as a nation that may have about 170 million citizens within the poverty bracket, and with the mindset of some electorate who see elections as carnival and an opportunity to have a taste of the polluted national cake, it may be difficult to deal with vote buying. You know, I monitor the DIG, Frank Oba, who led the police to Edo State. He promised that even though they know that often vote buying is in covert manner, which means it's done in the closed environment, but that if anyone is found buying or selling votes publicly, they will be arrested. And some reports indicated that some were arrested, which takes us to the next level. What Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says is that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of power. So if we cannot go after them to investigate, prosecute before a committed judiciary, then it means there are no consequences and it will continue. And we know that vote buying is not a unilateral action. There is the seller, there is the buyer. And I actually saw a video where some were arrested with a lot of money with them towards vote buying. So, and that is why I will agree with the fact that there's a need to touch on our system and not be driving change within continuity of what has not helped us to date. And let's talk about the INEC. So far, so good. INEC has attempted to key to the provisions of IT, the Beavers, the IREF, and everything. But again, these technology devices are managed by human beings, and I call that the superstructure. The objects are infrastructure. So, and we've heard reports of glitches and hitches, and again, logistic challenges, where we understand some sensitive materials and the officials that should accompany them were not moved on time, perhaps because there wasn't conclusion with the contractors who were to assist INEC to do that. And the last governorship election in Edo State took place 4 years ago. So one would have expected, except the argument is that no budgetary allocation has been forwarded to INEC to support these current elections. And we hope that even though we are trying to step up by engaging technology, which is far away from the option A4, because that is the most transparent election I've ever seen. But then politicians may not like it, and the power brokers also may not like it, who feel they should dictate who should be in office. And now let's go to the actions of the key players. For instance, during the day, despite the rain, there were few glitches until in the nighttime, when I understand some bigwigs had to go to the INEC Collation Center to start throwing their weight around. And even the incumbent governor also went there until he was led away by the security agency. So you see this desperation. And my position is clear. Why should elections be a big deal in Nigeria? That about 40-something thousand police officers and things. There was an election in July 2024 in the UK. I'm not sure many people around the world even heard or read about it because it went seamlessly. What is so special in this? And my other concern is that when elections come and we see all this adrenaline and muscle flexing, why can't we focus that muscle flexing on fixing the problems of Nigeria and let prosperity flow? So by and large, I think what we are advancing in is the interest of the political gladiators, because there are several levels of interest in politics. I don't want to say democracy. You have the state interest, national interest, the party interest, and the politicians' interest. And I think right now it's all about politicians' interest. And if we now come down to what we need to also learn, maybe I should address politicians. You see a case now where the incumbent governor migrated from a political party to get a second term, and is now trying to play the godfather to sustain that party. And the party is saying, no, you left us. We should be entitled to this. So, and again, another issue we should not browse over just like that in Nigeria is the issue of subnational. Right now, we have influencers at the national level that are perceived to be mobilizing the national influence in respect of the elections. Because I'm worried that the incumbent governor will be complaining about some forces. So these are issues we need to put together. And finally, let me go back to INEC. If you look at Section 65 of the Electoral Act as amended, it says that INEC has the final say when it comes to marked ballot papers and announcing the winner, and has the power to review within 7 days. And in combination with that, you can now go to the tribunal. I think the politicians need to wake up. I say something. If you benefit from injustice today, you may cry foul of injustice in the future. So how can we now come to the point where we are seen to comply with the global standard of having an election that is credible, fair, transparent, and fair to all?
Okay, Professor Aworawo, you are from Edo State, right? Or you are from Delta? Okay, you are from Delta, but what's the difference? You people used to be old men there.
Yeah,
but, what's your take on this subject?
Well, I would like to answer some of the questions they have raised. He raised the question, why is election as it is? Why does it seem like it's a do-or-die thing? The answer is, it's a do-or-die thing because the profits, the rewards, are huge. The UK Prime Minister, how much does he earn? He can resign the next day and go away because it's no big deal.
Correct.
Yes, here is not just a huge deal. And when you have that kind of structure, it's always going to be like this, a do-or-die thing. And when we want to do, again to speak to what Professor Akinterinwa said about continuities in changes, a total overhaul is needed, actually. Total overhaul that will affect constitution, several other things, for elections to be free, fair, and credible in Nigeria. Then to speak to the other one, option A4 versus the use of technology, I would argue that Nigerians have grown progressively worse since that election in 1993. Yes. Option A4 will not even work now. Talks would invade areas where the person they don't want to win has a large number and scatter the queue. What do you do? And some policemen will pretend that they never saw the talks, and the man loses election. Which is why, what I've always said about ethical renaissance, Nigerians need ethical renaissance for anything to be done well. As far as we are like this, theorize anything, it won't work. Even the option A4, I will argue that now it won't work. Didn't we see in the last election? How many people could vote? Look, even the technology, people are talking about glitches. I've supervised election before. People tinker with it to make it not work. I've supervised as youth corpers who work with me, trying to dismantle the thing so it does not work.
Yes. It's professors that they always as electoral officers. So you professors are part of the problem.
No. If I had not been there, the person who won would not have won. That's just the simple thing. They brought some result 11:30 at night, the youth corpers, and I said, where are you coming? Where were you from 4 to 11? They couldn't answer the question. I said, these results are rejected. The INEC man came to whisper to me and said, okay, we don't do it like that. So I said, who says who? I'm the one presiding here. And that was it. People come from all over the place. It didn't change anything. So the point I'm making is this. As long as we have decided to be morally bankrupt, what we call moral morass, we are stuck in it. Nothing will go to. The fight is going on there where the two sides are claiming to have won. Well, let's see what the result will turn out to be at the end. But the way we live our lives has to change fundamentally for anything, including elections, to also change. Let me talk about Joshua. Everybody has forgotten about Joshua because of the election. Anthony Joshua, I feel very sorry for him. He fell before the last 4. And he was trying to make up for the earlier one by trying to knock out the other guy and left himself exposed. He actually knocked that guy, but the punch wasn't strong enough to get the man on the canvas. And the man, Dubois, knocked him, and that was the end of story. Maybe Joshua should retire, because even before then, he was always tired moving on, not just the punches themselves. He was tired as a person on his own. He was just trying to muster strength and see if he could knock out Dubois. And of course, that backfired.
They've resumed the collation in Benin City, Edo State election, Edo decides 2024. Let's go back to Benin City and see what they have for us.
Collation officer for Oredo local government. Oredo local government has 12 wards. The summary of the results are as follows. Total number of registered voters, 356,242. 356,242. Number of accredited voters, 64802. 64802. Votes as recorded by parties. A.
Please, sorry, Prof. Registered voters is what?
356,242.
Okay. Okay. I didn't hear it. Sorry about that, please.
Thank you, sir. Party A. Three eight. A 38. AA 63. 63. AAC 58. 58. ADC 192. ADC 192. ADP 92. ADP 92. APC 30780. 30780. ABGA 523. 523. 23. APM 32. 32. APP 23. 23. BP 59. 59. LP 5389. 5389. NNPP 8888. NRN 72. PDP 24938. 24938. PRP 3131. SDP 231. 231. YPP 6060. ZLP 3434. Total valid votes 62703. 62703. Rejected votes 1339. 1339. Total votes cast 64042. 64042. Thank you.
Thank you, the LGA Collation Officer. Thank you. Was there a particular polling unit or ward where there was no election, or election took place and results were cancelled, and then the reason for such? All right. None? Thank you. Party agents, please. Yes, sir, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Tony Iyoha. I stand to represent the PDP as state coalition agent. This is my local government, so I will be holding the mic for a couple of minutes. And I want everybody to listen very carefully. I was called while we were during the first session of this exercise, precisely at 11, by the EO, that I should call my agent, that they were about to start collating Oredo results from my local government. My agent has since been here. I called the EO severally for my agent to be granted access to join them in this coalition that was never supposed to happen here, according to INEC laws, INEC regulations. He has been outside and he is still outside. He hasn't been granted access into these premises. And then you collect a result that we are not involved in. We won this election in Oredo by miles. Miles. How would, in this city, metropolitan city, APC get these votes? It's not possible. Our people are very, very civilized people. What they have done here, I will reveal to you when we continue for the last local government, and I will point it out to you. This is disgraceful. This is shameful, to say the least. It's shameful if this is how this kind of state or this kind of country we are going to bequeath to our children. They would ask us questions one day, all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other?
My name is President for the Zenith Labour Party. I'm a bit more confused because you have not asked the officer why he delayed. Because the polling unit the area is collating. It's just like a true stone where 5 hours journey have delivered his own result. It's just coming. And when I saw him, I said, they didn't use a professor. So when he introduced him as a professor, I became shocked. And I'm doing my PhD, and I've just told myself I don't need to be a professor. This is very disgraceful. You should explain why the delay. Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It is noted. Thank you, sir.
My name is Jared Tenebe. I represent APC here. I'm surprised when the agent of PDP keep mentioning APC. And openly just now he said that this is a metropolitan city that is surprised at APC we have votes like this. And he is from the same local government. I can make bold to tell you that all through the campaign, he was nowhere to be found because he's alleged to be one of those people that killed the police at the airport, and he has been on the run. And for the information, please, I must say this, please. I have to say this.
Please.
I have to say this.
Please.
I have to say this, please.
I'm begging you, please.
I have to say this because I also have to let the police know that after the collation, he's one of those that is alleged to have killed that police at the airport. Please.
Please. I think party agents, please, we can do better. What we should be doing here is to raise issues concerning results. I think we should avoid issues that are not in tandem with what we are doing, please. The party agent for PDP, please except if you have something new, you are not to respond to this, please. I'm begging you, please. Please, something different, not personal, please. Okay, sir. Please, so that we don't waste time here, please.
Thank you, sir. I will not join issues with someone that is a beneficiary of this fraud. Is an active participant of this. When it goes low, I will go high. Sir, the Ologun results, I can see a column signed by PDP here. Our agent is outside. Our agent has not had access to this building since these results were moved from Ologun, from the wards. The results, only 2 wards out of 12 got to Ologun Collation Center. The remaining wards were brought here directly. The agent, the Ologun local government area agent, has not had access to this building and make bold to say. So this fraud, I repeat, this manufacturing of votes continues. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, like I said before, I want us to be very, very matured and diplomatic in this case. Like I said, please, I want to repeat it. There are questions that have been raised. The truth about it is that if really we know our role here, this is not a court of law. I just want to attend to some of the issues the last man raised. It is not a court of law where somebody will be kept in a box for interrogation. Our simple job is for us to collect results, and you can see fundamental questions we have been asking here. Those are the only questions that we can ask as far as this exercise is concerned. And this exercise must continue. It has to go. We must do it to complete what we are supposed to do here. So any other issue, please, like I said before, document this and make it available to our INEC. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, please. Thank you. Any other observation? All right, LGA Collation Officer, please tender the results. Thank you. Which other? Okay. Is Okpoba here? Okpoba local government? Is it Okpoba? I've said, please permit. Don't mind me. I'm not too familiar with. Please. Okpoba. Eh? Bola. Just bear with me, please. So long as you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you. Thank you. Gentlemen and ladies, please let me show you something here. This is the result sheet. It's still sealed. What I want to simply do is open this in your presence, and then we begin to record results, because if we stay here and say we want to go on recess again, it means we'll have to extend this exercise till tomorrow. So please, with your permission, it's sealed. It is sealed. I'm going to open it before everybody here, and then we'll now begin to record the results that are already on the screen. So please. and gentlemen, this is the declaration result sheet. It is also sealed. Please, you bear me witness. This is from EC8D. From EC8D. Is this sealed? We shall be transferring the results that is already on the screen that everybody has seen, and I'm sure the results are also in relation with the party agents and security.
Well, welcome back to the studio here in Lagos. We're still right there in Benin City where the results of the elections in Edo State, Edo Decides 2024, been announced. We still have left one local government, Ikoba Oha local government, and at the Collation Center, we have our Rice News correspondent, Charles Eruka. Charles Eruka, are you with us? Right there from Benin. Okay, can you give us an idea of what's going on and what to expect and what the situation is right now?
The Independent National Electoral Commission has decided to take the bull by the horn. After all, we have 17 local government areas in, and just people are local government area left. So, from the point of view of the INEC, it's almost done and dusted. The results coming in will be of very little significance to the overall result. Perhaps that's why they are deciding to take the risk and proceed to tally the results that have been collated towards the final announcement. But that still is bearing in mind the fact that there is one local government area left. So according to the resident electoral commissioner, we just cannot be held to ransom because one local government area is left. After all, when it was 2 LGAs left, we had a great go on return for about 3 hours or so, but now we are back. One local government area already comes in, and that makes it 17. So it's just one local government area, and from the figures we have already, the results from the last local government area will make little significance to the overall results, and I believe is the reason why we have decided to save time here. The Independent National Electoral Commission has decided to save time while we are waiting for the results from Ikoba-Oha. Let's just tally the figures of the local government areas that have already been collated. Dr. Abati.
Okay, Charles, I heard you very clearly. You said that the last local government, the collation is not going to make any difference. So what does that tell us? And what is the mood in Edo State right now, particularly Benin City, where you are?
I would have said that's a trick question, but then let's just say we are facing the inevitable. I am not going to make any declarations here for obvious reasons, but if it takes a little bit of arithmetic to know who is ahead and who is trailing, those who have grievances have already voiced their grievances, and they are waiting for the announcement of the final results so that they can actually voice their protest, at press conferences and eventually to court. That is the last resort. But as it is, it doesn't take rocket science to know who has won and who has lost. But I will leave that to the resident electoral commissioner when the right time comes. It's a mood of anticipation here. Let's say, yes, it's a mood of tense anticipation. I have gotten feelers from outside that some people are already celebrating. I spoke to my colleague at the government house, Christiana, and in the background I actually heard the sound of very heated argument. So apparently something is going on there, but maybe, just maybe, when I speak to her again, I'll have her bring me up to date about the mood in the seat of power in Edo State here. Dr. Abati.
Okay, Charles, well, I get your point. It's in the place of INEC to announce the final result, not the place of any other observer. But as an observer, your opinion in terms of what you saw as a member of civil society and as somebody who has been on the ground in Edo State to observe this election, what are quick points that you observed?
and foremost, security was massive. Security was tight, and the security agents conducted themselves professionally, both in the field and here at the Independent National Electoral Commission's Collation Center. So it's one of the reasons why we had few and far between incidents of violence and breach of law and order. So security for the Edo State governorship election was tight. On the other hand, on the flip side, even though there was no direct attempt at manipulating the results at the polling units, or should I say the collation centers too, but we did observe that there was a very, very vibrant attempt at vote buying at some of the polling units we visited. In some cases, the security officials tried to intervene whenever they had evidence. In some cases, well, if there was no evidence where the perpetrators were a lot more subtle, then they allowed sleeping dogs by. It was not just one-sided. I believe each and every of the leading political parties did make that attempt at vote buying at the polling units. Now, the thorny issue is that in the field, no problems, or very few problems, but it was when the governor visited the Independent National Electoral Commission's office in the dead of the night. That is when the controversy erupted. What was he doing here at that time of the day? Was he supposed to be here in the first place? And the leaders of the All Progressives Congress, including the National Publicity Secretary and the running mate of the governorship candidate, were also here outside the gate. They were refused access by the policemen at the INEC Collation Center here in Benin City. The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party was here, along with his deputy. Of course, they were also kept outside the INEC headquarters here in Benin City, but the governor was here. And later on, the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Edo State, Mr. Frank Mba, came in to douse the tension, I believe. And shortly after Mr. Mba's arrival, the governor was courteously escorted out of the INEC headquarters by the police officers who were on the ground here. So that was how Mr. Mba was able to douse whatever tension was brewing at that time. In any case, the All Progressives Congress were alleging that the People's Democratic Party, the governor, so to say, had attempted to gratify the officials of the Electoral Commission, but that has not been substantiated. It's an accusation, it's a rumor, so we're not taking that to the bank at all. But that was an accusation made by the APC, while the PDP, on the other hand, were insisting that because the governor had information that the results from the collation centers had not yet been properly collated before the INEC agents were ordered back to the INEC headquarters so that the collation would be done here at the State Collation Center, which happens to be contrary to the rules and regulations for elections conducted by INEC. Well, that also is debatable because it was coming from the People's Democratic Party. In any case, they insist that the reason why the governor visited INEC last night in the dead of the night was to lodge his protest about how the collation was done at the centers.
Okay, Charles.
And so, yeah.
Well, Charles, I would like to thank you very much, for being on the ground. That's Charles Eruka, a Rice News correspondent on the ground in Edo State, monitoring the elections and feeding us back on the latest developments. We're waiting for the announcement of the collection of the results from the last local government, in this case, Ikpuba-Hoha local government. But let me come quickly back to the studio as we prepare to end this program today. Well, Professor Aworawo, let me start with you.
Well,
concluding thoughts on the state election.
I already looked at the electoral process and following the patterns of elections in the past couple of years, and come to the conclusion that we shouldn't expect anything better than we've always had, because the approach to the election, the attitude has not changed. The rewards are too massive, and so it's a do-or-die thing. And Nigerians themselves have not shown enough responsibility, and that's why we have seen what we are seeing. A winner will emerge. Of course, the courts would ultimately now decide one way or the other who the winner is and who the governor will be.
Mr. Ologun.
In the words of Joseph Stalin, the people who cast the vote don't decide an election. The people who count the votes do. So that is why I throw it back to Section 65 of the Electoral Act of Nigeria as amended, and we wait on INEC to declare the final result. But post-election victory, I tie myself with the quote of Simon Sinek, who said that leadership is not about the next election, it's about the next generation. So elections in and out, what is the future of the country? So we still yearn to a season when we begin to have transformational leadership that will translate to having a refined electoral process. Because for me, I think we have too much drama and bringing in so many stakeholders that should not be bothered about our elections. And we wait to hear the final verdict from INEC, the umpire. And that will rest my case.
Prof?
When James Ngugi wrote on Weep Not Child, he said, a white man is always a white man, but a black man is never a black man. In other words, when we are looking at the Edo elections, for as long as we black people, Nigerian people, will want to capitalize on a foreign culture of voting, democracy in the manner of liberal democracy in the manner of the Western world, we will not have any headway. There is the need to return, to African, indigenous democracy, which Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, when he refused to accept the Western conception of, Westminster's democracy, which allows for what they call, loyal opposition. This was a point Professor Bolaji Akinyemi raised during his 200th edition of his Through My Eyes. That, look, he's even talking about one-party democracy. Julius Nyerere says, and Professor Akinyemi expatiated on it very recently, 2-3 days ago, to say that the way African leaders were doing it before, everybody is allowed, brought in to contribute their views. And in contributing your views, all the views are accommodated, they reach consensus. But colonialists came to say no. They introduced the idea of opposition. Opposition means enemy in Tanzania. All this opposition politics is interpreted as an enemy in Nigeria. And Professor Aworawo rightly pointed out to say, look, in response to your question, that you are saying, why is it like this? Why is it do or die? It has to be do or die because the winner carries it all. So this mentality, this attitude to politics cannot work in Nigeria. That's what we are witnessing in Edo, and it must stop. Let us go back and listen to Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who said, this notion of liberal democracy, there is the need to revisit it and define it. Let us go back. Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida came up with a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, more or less of a two-party system. Can it not be Africanized? Can it not be redefined in the African setting, rather than always following presidential system, semi-presidential system that we do not even understand, because the environment of both sides are different.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Akinterinwa. Good to have you back on the show. Thank you, Mr. Ologun, and thank you, Professor David Aworawo. You've been watching This Is Live, the Sunday talk show here on Arise News, as well as the coverage of the Edo State governorship election. The coverage will continue. We have our correspondents on the ground. I will now hand over to Ni Oyelowo and Bolanle Adeshuye, who will continue with the proceedings in Edo State. I'm Ruben Abati from our entire team here in Lagos. It's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching.